Everybody, and as promised, I am continuing with our video illustration of the 5 hidden pillars of fate and taking apart each of these little pillars in short video presentations so that we can have a better understanding of what each of these pillars is about and how they function in showing fate and fortune. Today we're dealing with the part of spirit, and we're looking once again at the chart of Paul Newman. Last week we looked at the part of fortune, which is here at 17 degrees of Sagittarius, and we were looking at it specifically as an alternate ascendant. And if you haven't already looked at that video, go ahead and check out ancientsky.com and check that video out, because we talk very specifically about how the part of fortune can be used as an alternate ascendant. And indeed, that is one of the foundational aspects of this entire system. Today we're looking at the part of spirit, and it's important to, when we think of these parts, especially these two, fortune and spirit, to think of them as what they were once called. They were called the ascendant of the moon, the part of fortune was, and the ascendant of the sun, the part of the sun, well, part of spirit rather was. So I thought I would read a little section from Vedic Valence that kind of differentiates between the two and gives us an idea of what these two parts are about. For the moon, being cosmically fate and body and breath, produces something of a like kind as it is the lady of our body. The sun, being cosmically mind and spirit through its own activity and pleasant nature, since it arouses the souls of men for undertakings, is established as a cause of action and motion. Action and motion. The sun arouses the souls of men for undertakings. As a matter of fact, I'm studying Kung Fu right now, and I was just talking to my Kung Fu teacher. He left me a message, and he said, "You have the spirit to learn Kung Fu." So here I am roused to take the action of learning how to do Kung Fu. So let's look at Paul Newman's chart in this respect. Now, I have another way that I like to look at the part of fortune and the part of spirit. I see the part of fortune as a road that on which we must walk, a road that kind of leads us to what our fortune is going to be. Often you talk to many people, you say, how did you get into that? They say, oh, well, I just kind of fell into it. I met this person that thought I might be good at this, and then I started doing it and started really working for me. So that's kind of a way that the part of fortune kind of works. It's an unseen force. It's the way that fate moves us towards doing what is going to be, so to speak, our work. Whereas, so it's the road that we walk. Whereas the part of spirit is the person walking, is the actual person walking. If we think about a play, the part of fortune would be the actual narrative arc of the play, and the part of spirit would be the lead character in that play, would be the character in that play. So one of the things that I always say about spirit is that spirit animates and personifies the body, because once again fortune is considered the body just like the ascendant. Thus the part of spirit is soul, mind, that which animates and inspirits the actual body, that which animates the body, and that by which we are identified. So it has a lot to do with behavior. When we get to the basis, we'll also be looking at the part of spirit, because basis represents the foundational motivation on which those actions are based, that the actions that the spirit takes are based. So let's look at Paul Newman and his spirit, his part of spirit. His part of spirit is in Aquarius, and that is ruled by Saturn. We don't use any of the 3 outlying planets, Pluto, Uranus, or Neptune, for this particular technique. We use the ancient rulers, and the ancient rulership of Aquarius is Saturn. What we see here is that Saturn is in the 10th house. So the 10th house essentially represents reputation and work. Saturn represents seriousness, he can represent good things and bad things, seriousness, tenacity, sticking to a goal, patience. He can also represent depression. He can represent too much seriousness, a lack of joy, a lack of enjoyment and fun. I would say, from looking at this chart, especially because it's Capricorn rising, which is also ruled by Saturn, that this person is very serious minded, especially as regards actions dealing with his reputation, and his work life. And so this would probably be a very steady person, a person who would be very easily, shall we say, very easily depended upon. It would be a very dependable, steady person. And we can see that from the Jupiter on the ascendant, and we can also see that from the actual Saturn himself, which is in this position angular. Now, here's one of the things. We would usually be looking at this chart from a whole sign standpoint. Right now we're looking at a Placidus chart. I would almost always be using a square chart, which would be whole sign. Excuse me. That would put the Saturn in the 11th house. So there's something to say kind of about the 11th house here. The 11th house is sometimes considered, especially by these ancient Greek astrologers, as even stronger than the 10th house. Why is that? Because of the daily motion of the chart, the 11th house is going towards the 10th house. It's going towards the summit of the chart, whereas if something's in the actual 10th, it has already reached that summit and it's on its way down over, to the descendant, to the 7th house, and underneath it's leaving the diurnal part of the chart and going into the nocturnal part of the chart. So with the 11th, we still have the excitement of the climb, and of course the 11th is called the good spirit, which means that help along the way. Spirit, once again, is a personification, right? Fortune is stuff that happens. Spirit is something that is personified. So that represents types of people that would be of service or of help to that person, or what I call friends in high places and people who are patrons. So that is our little exegesis of spirit. We've got fortune, which represents kind of the road that we are taking, and then we have the part of spirit, which represents he who walks that road, and what nature of person, what quality of soul, what type of behavior we can see from those very actions that the person partakes in. Okay, we'll be back. I'll look at actually Kurt Cobain's part of spirit, and then we'll continue on with the part of exaltation, which is very important in finding the actual finding fame in the chart. Okay, thanks for coming.